Yo, what's going on, snipers, and welcome back to our Untitled Thrashers franchise mode here in NHL 21. So in last episode, we had the draft in the re-sign stage, and it was not a terrible draft. We grabbed a couple steals in a low elite and a medium elite defenseman. And yeah, for re-sign stage-wise, we did let go of a couple players like Vesa Henricius and Brian Elliott, just because I think I want to give Jackson Robbins an opportunity as our backup goalie, and then also because for Henricius, we let him go because we do have some younger guys who are going to be cracking into our lineup this season, including Soderstrom, which I will show you right here. Is now at 79 overall at 23. He has top 6 potential, but he's probably going to become more of a bottom 6 player for us, but he's a very good defensive player. He's a grinder, so something we don't really have a whole lot of. So I'm excited to see how he could do on our bottom 6 this coming season. And then also like guys like, who was it, Snyder could be like a depth option for this team easily. Same with Cleary. We could also use, who was it, Hillen? Yeah, it was Easton Hillen as a depth option. So we honestly don't really need to make much decisions in terms of free agency. Our team still looks pretty good altogether. Like the defensive core still looks as strong as it normally does. Goalies still look pretty strong. And then forward-wise, we look pretty strong as per usual. So I honestly don't think we're going to be making any signings in this episode, which means we won't be bringing back guys like Brian Elliott and whatnot, but our team looks pretty good for the most part. And yeah, these are all our unsigned guys at the moment. As you can see in the draft in the last episode, basically, we drafted this Clemmy dude and Lume. Both of them have some good potential, but it's going to take a while for them to actually develop, so we will see if those guys actually end up making it before the end of the series. But yeah, that's basically what we drafted and our prospect pool. Let's sim through the start of free agency because I don't think we need to make any moves for this team. And our coaching staff is pretty good as well. Yeah, our coaching staff is good. We got Hines still locked up for 3 more years. Let me just make sure the scouts are assigned to the right areas, which they don't seem to be. Actually, did we double up on scouts? I don't remember. Oh, and some of these guys need to go to USA East and USA West, so I need to make sure I know who's who. So, who was it that went to USA East and who went to USA West? This guy's an A on USA East. It's not terrible. I guess I'll put Boy Low. We'll reassign him. How do I reassign again? Oh my goodness. It's been a while since I've played this, so actually, can I not reassign him during the regular season? Yeah, I can probably not reassign him during the off season, so I'll have to do that at the start of the season if I remember. But yeah, let's get through free agency. So we'll sim 1 month just so we could see where some of my created players have signed. And yeah, that sort of thing. But like I said, I don't think this team needs to make any trades because those RFAs that we have that are going to be re-signing soon are all pretty good players. So we have really good depth regardless. So Lapierre's accepted. Apparently Roy Snyder was offered an RFA thing, so I'm going to match the offer. Apparently they were trying to offer him a one-way deal, so I'll just match it. And then Cleary's accepted. I'm kind of surprised that a team actually went after Snyder, but I mean, he's a 78, so I can see and understand why they would go for him. Okay, let's just slow down the simulation just to make sure we got all those guys. Okay, so we're at the 31st. Let's take a look and see if we got all our RFAs back before we actually take a look at who's signing where. So RFA wise, we got all our RFAs back. Okay, perfect. We still have 8 contract space room, but I don't really think it's necessary for us to sign 8 players, just based on how we have our roster, because we should have 2 goalies in the AHL still, right? Yeah. Okay, yeah, we're good. Okay. So let's take a look at who signed to where in free agency, just because I'm kind of curious on some of those players, especially the ones I made. Trading wise, there has been a couple trades this offseason so far. So Olli Jokinen and Taylor Pyatt, I think it is, and Henrik Tillinger going to Pittsburgh for a prospect in a second, I think. Corey Sarich going to Philadelphia from Chicago. Yuri Hudler going to Ottawa from Columbus for Marian Hossa and Samuel Alonen. Wow, that's a pretty big trade. Alexei Morozov going to LA from Minnesota. Interesting. And then signing wise, any players, Jason Chimera signing at Phoenix. I'm not going to list these all out, but if you guys want to bring up anything in specific, let me know. But I still will bring up any players that are created by me. So Corey Sarich signing in Chicago. Hey, our former player Murray Blue just goes back to the Rangers. He was with some other team for 1 season, but he's going back to New York for 3 years. So good luck in New York there, Murray. Anybody else interesting? Just a bunch of EA generated players so far. Caden Heward is our player. Our former player Ilya Korostin signs in Philadelphia. Marcel Hossa signs in Buffalo. That's another former player of ours. Michael Handzus signs in Carolina. Luongo signs in Carolina. Interesting. Carolina did let go of both their goalies, so it makes sense for them to pick up Luongo. What else we got here? Any other players? Marcel Gosh going to Washington. Andrew Ference signs in Edmonton, where he played right at the end of his career, so that's actually really realistic, so good to see that. David Tanabe also signs in Edmonton, so Edmonton addressing their defensive needs, I guess. Brian Gionta signs in Buffalo near the end of his career, so that's realistic as well. Obviously, he played there near the end of his career in real life, and he's from like Rochester, so it makes sense. I really like when that type of thing happens where creative players sign with teams they actually played for. What else we got here? Anything else? Kari Lettinen in Boston. That's kind of neat. Anybody else? A lot of EA generated players. Patrick Stefan goes to Pittsburgh. Former player of ours. Andrew Raycroft goes to Edmonton. Of course, Edmonton would sign a weird goalie like Andrew Raycroft. Anything else? Scroll through this a little bit quickly here if we can. Hey, our former player Jeff Scavello signs with Detroit. Alex Coley going back to Buffalo, so actually, did he start on Buffalo in this? I think he did, but he makes his way back to Buffalo eventually again. Brad Stewart also signs in Buffalo. Dan Blackburn in New Jersey. And that might almost be it. Derek Morris goes to Nashville. Pascal Dupuis going to Nashville as well. Are we almost near the bottom? Yes, we are. Okay, good. Anything else? Pecorine going back to Carolina on a 6-year deal. So he was let go to free agency, but they do bring him back on a 6-year deal. So now they're going to be running Rene and Luongo. But they did lose Callahan, who was their backup goalie when we beat them in the playoffs. Joseph Vasicek also signs in Edmonton. A lot of Edmonton signings, and that's pretty much it. Interesting free agency. Not any huge signings, I'd say, but still not too bad of a free agency. I'm going to make a quick jump cut to the start of next season with our edited lines, and then we will simulate probably till like January the 1st, just to see how this team simulates. So I'll see you guys in a second. Okay guys, so our lineup looks pretty good coming off a Stanley Cup win. So we still got Malkin, Bergeron, Kovalchuk, Camilleri, Houghton, and Kemp, Ivanov, Frolov, and Bork, and in a fourth line of Wolski, Soderstrom, and Pispinen. Soderstrom can actually take faceoffs, so he's going to be playing alongside Pispinen, so two of our younger prospects, and Wolski. So yeah, that forward core looks pretty good. Defensively, we still got Kondratiev and Wall, Ferguson and Martinez, and Conley and Brody. And in goaltending wise, we got Price and Robbins. As for depth, we got Hill and Gugnot, but we do have Kuznetsov there, because Kuznetsov is not fitting no more longer on the team pretty much in terms of how we have our roster set up. So I think we are going to have to be trading away Kuznetsov before we start up the season simulation. And in that way, we could call up somebody else as a depth forward, so probably somebody like Snyder. But we are going to have to trade away Kuznetsov, which kind of sucks. He's been a decent player. He's been kind of inconsistent sometimes, but he definitely was a good player last year in the playoffs and in the regular season. But we are going to have to flip him away to get in Soderstrom. So it's a small piece of the puzzle to get rid of, but it still kind of sucks to an extent, because I think Frolov is technically the better player, because Frolov was playing like fourth line minutes last year and he had 49 points. So I think we are going to run with Frolov instead of Kuznetsov. And yeah, that's pretty much what we're going to do. And yeah, basically the AHL looks something like this. It will change once we call up Snyder or Cleary as a depth option. But yeah, our AHL team looks pretty deep. And in terms of overall, at least, and in goalie-wise, we got Lapierre and Pinot. Wait, let me just take a look at Whitman. Top 9 potential, 20 years old. Can we put him into our forward core anywhere instead of somebody else? I might take out Latikainen, to be honest. Yeah, I'm going to take out Latikainen, just to give the younger guy an opportunity. There we go. Okay, so the only change we are going to make is get rid of Kuznetsov via trade. See if we can find a team that wants him. Maybe there won't be a team that wants him, because it's happened a lot of times where a team won't even trade like a 7th round pick for a player. So let's try and get rid of Kuznetsov before we start up the season simulation. It sucks to having trade away somebody like that that's been with the team for quite a while, but we have to let him go. He doesn't really have that much trade value, which is kind of surprising. But let's see if we could just get back, like, I don't know, a 4th round pick, or we're definitely not going to be able to get a 2nd round pick. So got to find a team that's willing to give up maybe like a 3rd rounder, like maybe this. Yeah, that should work, I would assume, but who knows? Buffalo might be like, screw you guys. So let's try Kuznetsov for a 3rd round pick, and that is rejected apparently. So I guess we're going to have to be stuck with taking a 4th rounder, which means we are going to have to go to a different team other than Buffalo. Yes, we'll do a 4th. Yeah, a 4th should work, I would assume. If not, then we're going to have to get a 5th, which is really going to suck. But Kuznetsov for a 4th, this is an absolute steal. Come on, Calgary. And that's accepted. Okay, perfect. So Kuznetsov off to Calgary. Sucks, but had to be done because of our youth movement kind of that we have going. Some of our younger guys jumping in. And we will call up Snyder as our depth option. Yeah, we will call Snyder, I think. Because Cleary's 24. Actually, who's better defensively? Cleary's got 81 defensive awareness. Snyder's got 81. I'm going to still call up Snyder, though, just because he deserves an opportunity to get into the lineup if there's an injury. So there you go. There's our depth forward, so Snyder and Hillen, and then our depth defenseman in Gugnaut, and there's the rest of our roster. Looking pretty good, I'd say, even if we did lose Brian Elliott. Speaking of Brian Elliott, I wonder where he signed, and then we will actually start up the season simulation. So let's take a look at the player search tool, which I always forget where the hell this is. There it is. I just want to curious to see where Brian Elliott signed. Also maybe Henricius. Hopefully this doesn't take too much time, but we're going to try and go to the halfway point of the season in this episode as well. So Brian Elliott signed with the Phoenix Coyotes. Wow. 1-year deal only, so that's interesting to see him sign in Phoenix. Best of luck, Brian, in Arizona. And let's take a look at also Henricius, because those were the major players that we let go of this offseason, and former Stanley Cup champions. So Henricius signed with Montreal on a 1-year deal and less than $2 million. That's a pretty good contract for Montreal to get him at. Obviously, we beat Montreal last year in the playoffs, so that's kind of interesting that he goes to a, not necessarily a rival team, but still. Okay, anyways, let's get this season started. So we'll do the preseason, and then we'll probably go up to right to game 41 of the regular season, or right to game 42 technically, I guess, of the regular season, so we can get right to the halfway point and just see how our team is at that stage. We should be easily a playoff team this year since we just won a Stanley Cup, but who knows, maybe the loss of Brian Elliott is going to come back to bite us. But I did decide I wanted to give Jackson Robbins an opportunity because he has been sitting in the AHL for a long time, so he definitely deserves an opportunity to play as backup as we go 6-1 in the preseason, which is really good. And Bergeron had 13 points, so our top line should probably produce pretty good like it's been doing the last few years. Hopefully it could do that again this season, because last year they were pretty good, the year before that they were pretty good, so I'm expecting big things from this team again this year. So let's go to November the 1st and see how we do. Hopefully we can get some wins here early as we lose to Anaheim 6-1 and then lose there. I'll bounce back with 2 straight wins, that's good. Branislav Meze on waivers. I don't think we really need another depth defenseman, so we are going to decline that. But yeah, it seems like always when you start off the season like 0-2, then your team all of a sudden just goes on a huge winning streak like where we are right now. We do lose to Detroit there though. Beat Montreal, beat Washington. Danny Lawson on waivers. Who are you? 78 overall at 27. That's not a bad depth defenseman, but I honestly don't really need him since we have Gugnaut. Game against Colorado is a tie. And Camilleri has been injured with some back spasms. At least it's not too long term. And we do beat Phoenix as well. So 9-3-1. A good start to our second season after winning Stanley Cup. Hopefully we can continue to play like that. So looks like we are no slouch of a team, and we're not taking our foot off the gas pedal after the Stanley Cup win. 18 points in 13 games for Patrice Bergeron, almost a goal a game as well. So our top line definitely doing what they do best. Love to see it. Let's go another month. Camilleri should be back within this first week of November. Yep, within this first week. Let's go to December the 1st. See how we can do with our depth option in. I don't know who's got thrown in, if it was Easton Hillen or the other depth option. And Camilleri is back, which is great. So we can take out Snyder. Snyder had 1 goal in 3 games, not too bad, but he was a -3 in that span, so not the best depth option, but still. There you go. Camilleri's back in. Camilleri kind of dropped off in overall a bit. It's probably because of his age, though. And Camilleri's now injured his hand. Okay, we'll go replace player again. Damn, Camilleri seems to be a fragile man this year, which is not great, but I mean, at least his injuries have not been too long term. So we will put him back into the lineup again. There you go. Game against Carolina is a win, 3-0. Nicely done, boys. We do lose to Florida. It's been a little bit more rougher of a month here, but we are still getting wins, so that doesn't matter too much. We are 15-8-1-1. Obviously, we don't want to have a spectacular record, because or else we're not going to win the Stanley Cup, but we are still second place in our division, only behind the Islanders. Interesting. 37 points in 25 games for Bergeron. He's almost the goal a game still, only 6 goals back of a goal a game. So he's playing really good right now. And that top line in general is probably doing really good. So that is that. Let's continue to simulate, because we want to get to game 41. And then we'll take a look at how our team's been doing. So let's go to January the 1st. We're kind of flying through the season, but whatever. Injuries on waivers, and don't really think I need another depth defenseman, but you never know. But I'm not going to claim him anyways. I don't feel like claiming players on waivers ever, just because I don't like to be a douche and take players for free. Kondratiev was never injured. Game against San Jose, we lose that one. Yeah, we've been kind of struggling a bit since the first month a bit, but our team's still playing pretty good. Reed Conley has been injured with a mild concussion, so we'll go replace player. That will give Guggenot some opportunity to play this year, which is good. Another depth defenseman on waivers. That's like the 3rd one. I might eventually claim one of them, just because we do need probably another depth defenseman if there's going to be injuries like this, but who knows. So Reed Conley's back, so we're going to throw him in instead of Guggenot, who only played 1 game. There you go, Conley. Game against Tampa Bay is a win as well. Game against Dallas, our first one since we beat them in the finals, and we lose 4-3 against them. Yeah, our team is struggling a little bit, but our record is still really good, so I'm okay with that, I guess. And yeah, we're 23-13-1-2. At how much games so far? 39 games, so we got to get 2 more games done just to be at the exact halfway point of the season. So let's get these games against the Rangers and the Sharks done, and we're going to win both of them. Nice. So we're on a 4-game winning streak. We're now 25-13-1-2 halfway through point through the season. Bergeron's well over point per game with 57 points in 41 games to lead the team. And we are currently 2nd best still in our division. The Islanders are having a really good year. Yeah, the Islanders are leading the league. Actually, no, they're not. The Oilers are 1st place in the NHL. They're 32-9-1. Damn. Yeah, we're not going to finish 1st place in the NHL, but that's okay, because I don't really want to win the President's Trophy, because that's a little bit of a curse sometimes. So let's take a look at our team stats first before we take a look at our player stats, just to see how we are doing this season. So in terms of the entire league, we are currently 5th place, which is pretty good. Goals for per game, we are one of the best offensive teams as well. We are 5th best in the NHL. The Islanders are number 1 though. Goals against per game wise, we are actually doing pretty solid as well. We're 9th in the NHL at 2.88 goals against per game. Our power play is struggling this year though, looks like. Yeah, it looks like our power plays are not been great this year. We might need to address our power play. It's only clicking at 16%. And then our penalty kill has been really good so far this year, 86.5. So pretty much if we address our power play, maybe we will be even a better team than we are right now. So that might be something we want to look into. Let's take a look at our player stats so far for the season, and then we might address our power play lines already, and then that'll be pretty much it for this episode. But I don't think we're going to be making much trades next episode. You guys could give me some suggestions for next episode, since this is the last pre-recorded episode, I think. So, Bergeron 57 points, as I was mentioning, plus 31. Malkin 47 points, plus 31. Yeah, that top line is doing it all for us pretty much. Howden, pretty good on the second line, 34 points. And Frolov as a third line center, I think it is, or actually... yeah, third line center, has 31 points, so glad I chose him over Kuznetsov, I think. And then left wing wise, Kovalchuk's got 54 points in 41 games. He's a plus 27. Kemp's got 28 points. Cam Leonard's got 25 in 36 because he's been injured 2 times. Ivanov's 19 points. Pispinen 16 points and 1 point for Snyder. And then in terms of right wingers, Bork 23 points, Wolski 18 points, and Soderstrom 10 points. So not too bad actually in terms of depth scoring as well. I'll take that. And then in terms of our defensive core, Ferguson 13 points and a plus 20. Ferguson's always really good plus minus wise. Like, look at those plus minus numbers. He's a plus 108 in 369 games. Really like that. Kondratyov only a plus 1, but he's got 12 points. Wall got 11 points, plus 4. So it seems like our top pairing might be out there for a lot of goals against, but it's okay. Brody 11 assists and a plus 8. Martinez is a plus 13 with 10 points. Connolly 4 points plus 13. And Guggenot's only played 1 game. And then goalie wise, Carey Price has been really good this year. This might be one of his best regular seasons yet. Yeah, I think this is. Yep, definitely it is so far. 22, 12, and 2. A 911 save percentage and a 2.66 goals against. That's pretty good to see. And Jackson Robbins is a backup who's barely played any games, has been not too great, but he's winning games. Maybe we should have kept Brian Elliott, I don't know. Because how has Brian Elliott played in Phoenix out of curiosity at this rate? Like, I don't know if he's their starter, though. He's their backup behind Nicholas Callahan, who was in Carolina, but... yeah, maybe we should have kept Brian Elliott, but I think it's okay to, like, playing a younger goalie instead, so... there we go. That is that. Let's take a look at our lines again just to address our power play lines. And then I think that'll be it for this episode. So, this power play has not been clicking apparently. What could we do to make it better? I don't mind this first unit, to be honest. But I might take Bork off it to give it a defenseman. Yeah, I think we need to give these lines a little bit of defenders on it. So I'm going to take Pispinen off the power play. And I will give Ferguson opportunity there. And then instead of Ivanov, actually Ivanov's pretty solid. Instead of Wolski, you could go with there. And then we will put in Kondratyov on this one. Just to give a little bit more balance to the power play, because I feel like if you have 5 forwards, that's usually when your power play doesn't click that well. So we'll go with something like that. And then I will do the exact same thing for this one. Take Ivanov off there. And put in Kondratyov. And then take Pispinen off there. And put in Ferguson. And then our penalty kill is looking pretty good as per usual. So there you go, some line adjustments going into next episode. But anyways guys, that's going to do it for this episode of our Atlanta Thrashers franchise mode. So in next episode, we will sim the next half of the season and see if this team can continue off to their great start. Hopefully we could go for back-to-back Stanley Cups this year. That would be pretty awesome. So let me know what you guys think down below. And I'll see you guys next time.